Lee. Stop it.
No. Can you get off your phone, please?
Oh my God.
Scene. Go.
Yeah, we back and we on.
We on. And
Hold on. I don't like it.
the other way, babe. The other way.
What do you mean the other way?
Turned around. What do you mean the other way? The other way you had it. Ooh, I can be so rude. You ever just hear yourself back? And scene. Go.
We back?
We back. We've had 2 appointments
Yeah.
since last time we spoke. And we have some updates.
You is excited.
I am. Listen, we're not going to give you guys no hard dates because we still want that to be a surprise now. However, we love and are obsessed with our IVF doctor.
All right, so check it out. He's a little weird though.
He is a little on the weird side, but weird is good. Weird is good.
Weird is good. So he talks like
Pitch Perfect. The girl in that movie, she can sing, but every time you ask her something, she's like
almost like she's whispering. Yeah, but
that's how he talks.
mix that with like Al Pacino, who's just like he's talking.
Yes, like he smoked all his life
Like this, and I just want you to know that
with the mask on.
you are going to be an amazing mother.
Yeah.
Even though you're already a mother, and we're just excited to have.
All right.
So it's like she's sitting there like this, like, because everybody's wearing masks, and so you can't really understand everything. But he's super cool. Answered all our questions, put us at ease, cracked a few jokes.
Yeah.
You know.
We did our ultrasound to check out my ovaries and their health to see if there's any concerns. I know we told you briefly a couple videos back that, you know, I had been told I was infertile back when I was a lot younger.
Right.
And so I didn't know really what the status of that was.
Right.
And so we checked out my ovaries and he said he was going to write me a prescription.
To go to the DMV.
So I can get a new license that says I'm 20 years old because that's how good my ovaries looked. Okay.
Now, hey, fellas, let me just say this right here. This was my first experience of being in the room with my wife, with another man that close to her, touching
That's
her.
how awkward you are. Imagine how we feel.
I mean, I can't say I get it, but I'm just saying.
The thing?
Yeah, I stopped kicking the thing. God bless you.
Yeah, so that was
a little weird.
Yeah.
It was a little invasive. But that was cool. I just kind of stood in the back. And
he let us see the screen, so he kind of showed us what we were looking at, and I got to see like all the follicles in my ovary and stuff. So all that turned out. That's what they're called. They're little follicles or whatever. Anyway, but we were really excited to learn that my ovaries are healthy, and for the most part, everything does look good. That he didn't see a whole lot of scar tissue or nothing like that. So nothing that gave him any room for concern or pause. So that was the first appointment. I didn't know we were doing all that the first appointment.
We didn't, yeah.
But you know, I'm all down for being efficient. So whatever we can do this first time while we're here, let's do it. So
hold on, pause. Everything has actually just been accelerated. I don't know if we actually talked about that previously. When we started this journey, as we talked about, you know, starting the journey again, because it's been kind of like on again, off again, on again, off again for a number of reasons. We were, you know, thinking like, hey, we're going to get an appointment. It's going to be some months down the line because, you know, with COVID and everything, there's some stuff was kind of pushed out. The original doctor that we had scheduled was supposed to be for like, middle of July, right?
End of July,
right? We get a phone call last month that says, hey, he's no longer practicing here locally. He's in Austin. There's a newer doctor who's just, you know, joined the company of Scott White. There's openings. His schedule's a lot more free. Are you interested? We're like, let's do it. And I think it was just, I felt like God's hands were all over that because everything has just been accelerated. His personality is wonderful. And his schedule's opened up where we're a priority for him because he doesn't have a lot of patients here right now. But he has a lot of medical experience too. So it's not like he's a rookie.
Right.
So that was kind of cool. So like literally everything has been like accelerated with like that first appointment. We go through the initial consultation and now he's doing the examination, that first appointment, sending us to get labs for the next appointment. Everything's just been super accelerated, which is definitely interesting.
So then fast forward, we go to our second appointment and we get a better understanding of what the timeline is going to look like. When are we looking to be pregnant? All that good stuff. We talked about how many embryos we potentially want to put inside.
Right.
Do we want to freeze the embryos after the fact, donate them, discard them?
It's
we
a
talked
lot to talk about. Yeah.
All the things.
And like risk of like multiples.
Like twins, triplets, quadruplets, whatever. And we talked about all the details of that. Like one embryo could potentially produce so many. So the more embryos you have, the more chances of twins or whatever. So we kind of let him know where our thoughts were. And again, we're keep some stuff private for now so that we can surprise y'all later. But we talked to him and let him know what our desires were, where we were at with all of that stuff.
Quadruplets.
That's a negative.
Yeah.
So anywho, so then we also got homework to go and get. I had to go get my blessing or like no objections from my neurologist and from my bypass surgeon,
right, to
make sure that they didn't have any concerns or issues with me going through IVF.
Right.
Particularly the neurologist, making sure that the hormones or anything like that wasn't going to negatively impact my pseudotumor. So I spoke with my bypass surgeon. She gave me her objections as far as dates were concerned, because we had a date in mind that has to slightly be adjusted based on her recommendations. And my my neurologist gave us the blessing. They're like, no concerns. We just have to be mindful of certain things. I will be at a high risk of blood clots and stuff like that, because some of the symptoms that you get from having blood clots mimic pseudotumor.
Right.
And so there may be a higher visitation to the ER whenever I have, she mentioned like certain symptoms, like if a headache turns from a 0 to a 10, if I lay down and immediately get a headache, or there was some other stuff that we wrote down that she listed. But if any of those things happen, that I need to go to the ER and make sure that it's not a clot,
a blood clot,
and that they can rule it that it's just a pseudotumor. So a little bit more complex than we would like to, as far as, you know, the concerns with getting pregnant, because weight loss or weight gain obviously is going to be a trigger for pseudotumor to return full force if it wanted to. So
now, mind you, not to interrupt you, my love.
Go ahead.
This was terrifying, because
like hearing that.
Yeah, because
it was discouraging.
Yeah, you have a number of years of setbacks, right? Mm-hmm. And you have the health issues that kind of came up out of nowhere, that are significant health issues. We're not talking about like a common cold here. We're talking about brain surgery, you know, if you don't get the bariatric surgery that you went through, right? And so now we already kind of treating this as like a high-risk pregnancy, right? In our minds, we're already kind of thinking that.
Yeah, like we're there already.
But they're now confirming, like, hey, with the health issues that you're experiencing right now, you can take no games. Like, the stress level has to be completely non-existent if possible.
Which that's the part that we didn't really elaborate on with pseudotumor. Right. It could be triggered, and symptoms can appear from any kind of stress, emotional stress. Yeah. I could cry too hard, and I will wake up the next day completely debilitated. Right. Any kind of work stress, physical stress. So all those things are running through my mind that I'm already going to experience or be mindful of. And then my neurologist tells me like, hey, but also you need to be very careful about blood clots. And we don't need to play that whole game like, oh no, I'm fine because I don't want to go to the ER.
No, it's like you need to go to the ER
every single time and get cleared to make sure it's not a blood clot.
Which is, I mean, it's scary, it's terrifying, because it's like, we had to have a very real conversation, like, hey, if it comes down to it, are we making a decision to save you or to save the baby? You know what I'm saying? And so we're having those type of conversations with each other, and we're both older, of course. So it's like, you know what, we have a child already, not together, but you know, we're raising a child together, and so it's like, do we want to put ourselves through the stress of having another child right here? Do we want to put ourselves through the stress of bringing a baby into this world right now? Like, is it worth all that? We put it to prayer. You know, we prayed together, and we got a sense of peace from it. At the end of the day, we made a decision like, you know what, we really believe that this is something that God would give his blessing for if we went ahead and pushed to move forward to. I don't think that we're stepping outside of God's, you know, preferred will for our lives by trying to pursue having a child. but it's something that you have to consider, right?
Yeah.
Something that you need to take into account and really, think about. Like, I'm happy that, I have somebody, who is not just going into it just like it's whatever. I just want to make it happen, but counting the costs and willing to sacrifice her body, like outside of all the stress of pregnancy, right? That's a lot by itself, but outside of that, willing to, really sacrifice her body. I appreciate that, love. I do. God's gonna bless you.
Real good.
Real good.
So we leave that appointment feeling real good. We talk with the neurologist feeling real discouraged, but then we bounce back and continue to move in faith, because this whole thing has been just moving in faith. Right. And now we have to do some lab work for this gentleman over here. And for those who have had to do that and give a sample, we're just going to take a moment of silence to just appreciate how awkward.
She was no help, y'all. None.
How awkward.
She was no help. No help at all.
The most awkward thing. The most awkward thing, okay?
Because we're not going into detail, because we got to get ready to wrap this up. But, we have a small time crunch.
Okay, so and we're doing it at home. They didn't make us do it in the hospital. So we have to, do it home.
It's the middle of the work day.
And get out of here.
I got to, step away, to have a break. You know what I mean? And she has a certain window of time and opportunity to get the sample back to the hospital
in Temple.
You know what I'm saying? So
I come running out the house with the brown bag with the goods. I gotta make it. Okay, hopefully we don't hit no traffic.
Oh my God!
So it's super awkward.
What a funny memory!
A funny memory. Yeah. But yeah, so just a moment of appreciation for all the gentlemen who have to experience that. And so, then we have our second appointment, and he drew us this little picture, which the next video I promise to bring it and show it to you, because we're actually going to put it in a frame. Our doctor likes to draw pictures, and I think it's the cutest thing. And so he drew this little picture of the process, which I have hanging up in my office. And so we talked about that, finalized after we got our feedback from my neurologist and bypass surgeon, finalized some dates and stuff like that. And
so the ball's moving.
The ball's moving. And we have an appointment next week.
And we'll keep you updated with that appointment. But so far, so good. Keep us in prayer. Continue to pray for any and everybody who goes through this process.
Yes.
You know what? If you have some friends and family who going through it, don't just, send them, congratulations when the baby get there. Send them a little prayer for them as they go through the process, because it's a lot. It's a whole lot. And once the baby gets here, hey, you know what? Tell them, how proud you are of going through that process, because it's not easy. But we love you guys. Thank you for sticking around and hearing our little testimony and journey and all that.